75% of people, some national studies say, find their jobs from networking because they knew somebody that had a connection somewhere to the organization that they want the job for.
Networking is just getting to know people, talking to everyone, and figuring out how either one, they can help you or you can help them at the end of the day.
For every job I've ever had has been through networking.
So it was a conference and I was standing next to my poster, so somebody walked up to me and then I realized, okay, as people walk by, I think I'm going to reach out to them and kind of grab them and talk about the poster, and in that moment I gave my elevator pitch. So I kind of used the environment as sort of like a security blanket, and I was able to sort of assess what people wanted to hear from me.
I've done networking. For example, we're always telling students to network wherever they are. My first networking experience was when I was 16, sitting in my dentist's chair in my hometown in Connecticut, and I was telling my dentist that I needed an after-school job, and he offered me a job working there part-time, doing office paperwork and assisting him. So I think the value in that is, I had no idea telling my dentist that that would lead to a part-time job.
I took a class. I saw that the president of the college was teaching a clinical interviewing class, and I said, well, I would need a clinical interview, and it can't hurt to take it with the president. So I put myself in that classroom, and at the same time they were hosting a conference in Ireland, my home country. I didn't know anything about it. I wouldn't have known about it if I didn't take the class. So after class, based on the introduction in the class, I just walked myself up to the president's office and said, hey, if you need any volunteers in Ireland, and cut to 2 years later, when I needed a job reference, and he said, oh yeah, come on in and I'll give you a reference, because based on class and based on my volunteer work, he offered me a job. The issue is you don't need to know somebody, you have to let people know who you are. And that's what networking is.
And I don't think I was adequately prepared, so I just remember standing in a corner like this, trying to figure out, should I go to someone, should I talk, is somebody gonna come to me, and not really being certain what to do.
If I have a pile of 200 resumes to go through, and somebody's resume has come from someone that I know and trust, or they're using keywords that I'm looking for in their cover letter, it's going to make them rise to the top so much more quicker and less chance of just getting sort of placed in the no pile.
The name on a resume should be centered, bolded, and larger than the rest of the font. The text should be single-spaced. Words such as avenue should be spelled out. Lastly, the email address you choose to use should be appropriate and professional. Some format of your name is best.
blackbeauty@hotmail.com. #1 Mets fan or a Yankees fan.
psychoaxemurderer@hotmail.com. So I have a professional email account at Gmail, and I use my first name and my last name. And I also have another professional email account, of course, at the college here at John Jay.
I have a few email addresses. I have a fun one that I use to collect coupons for shopping for professional attire. I have a professional one that is my first name, middle initial, last name @gmail.com. And then I have my work email address.
Developing myself academically and professionally, I tend to use my school email address more often. It's my first name dot my last name @John Jay. I also have a Yahoo email address, which is the same thing. My first name dot last name. Gmail is the same thing. I'm trying to keep it on that level of professionalism.
I use the John Jay email address and Gmail.
I use the John Jay email for almost everything now.
That's my reasoning for using the John Jay email, because I have another email that I use for my friends and whatnot, but for John Jay it's strictly for all my school stuff and my work stuff and whatnot. If I was going to give someone an email, I would give that one, not the other one.
Get help with your resume and make it the most professional possible by scheduling an appointment with a career development counselor.
I actually think you've got a good example of sort of traditional business attire and business casual. So a lot of workplaces will require traditional business attire, certainly for an interview, but even day-to-day wardrobe. Some that might be a little bit more informal will do business casual. So, you know, for those who identify as men or would prefer traditional masculine attire, you're really looking for a non-patterned suit in a dark gray, black, blue.
I would say some students make the mistake of dressing up, not necessarily dressing professionally. And their idea of dressing up may be like going to a club, you know, dressing a little bit sexy, which is not appropriate, obviously. So we really like to emphasize, we try to model, you know, by ourselves wearing suits, that they should try to wear suits.
Neutral tones to kind of blend in, and then maybe add a pop of color to bring my personality to the table.
Solid color shirt or something that's very understated, and a tie that, you know, is vibrant enough to show your personality, but not so loud that it's distracting when you're talking to someone.
Try to avoid wearing sneakers.
You want to make sure your shoes are polished, that the shoes and the belt match everything.
You want to be a professional, you're graduating from college, baggy pants is just not gonna work. If you want to wear something loose fitted, make it not too baggy, not too tight. Please do not wear your pants below your bottom. Men, please do not do that. You have a waist. Bring it up. It looks much better. It looks much better for the prospective employer, and it shows that you have a sense of class about yourself.
Tattoos, piercings, make sure to cover those up or take them out. If you have a suit, that should do the job in terms of covering the tattoos. Unless they're neck tattoos, just try to do the best you can, maybe a scarf or something of that sort. Dress for the job that you want, not the job that you have, is always the advice I've been given.
I Google myself about once a month.
The first time I actually Googled myself, what came up was my Facebook page.
Apparently I am a famous volleyball player within the United States.
Someone who was buried in an avalanche.
I like to think of myself as pretty fluent in social media. So I have a Facebook, I have a Twitter, I use LinkedIn pretty regularly. I blog for this office, and what we post about our events in the office. We post information for students to learn about professional development, and I think it's important to have my name on it because it shows my writing skills, it shows my commitment to the field, and it makes it a little bit more relatable for the students to know that it's an actual person rather than just an office.
What we like to tell our students is that they need to make sure that any material that they're posting online is not going to portray them in a negative light. So we want to make sure that the person that they met in person is going to be the same person that you're representing online.
I try and stay as professional as I am offline, online.
We really do emphasize professional networking online. Our #1 recommended site is LinkedIn. It's essentially your online resume where you can market what you've done and what you're hoping to get into. So we find that LinkedIn is a very, very valuable tool for getting to know people, making new contacts, things like that. You can join groups that are part of your professional association, so you can get linked in with people to talk about common interests, and often people post jobs in those discussion groups, or they email it out to all the members. So really, I'm a big fan of LinkedIn, and it's been very helpful in my own personal networking as well. Before I worked in higher education, I worked in corporate on Wall Street, and so I was very new to the field of higher education. I definitely utilize LinkedIn to connect with people in higher education in different departments to figure out what they do. I set up informational interviews where I meet people for coffee to learn about how to get into the field, perhaps openings that were available in the field. So it's my personal story that's why I've been able to get here. Every job I've ever had has been through networking.
And in that moment, I gave my elevator pitch.
Elevator what?
Oh my god, I just learned this the other day.
I have no idea what an elevator pitch is.
Isn't that when you raise your voice? I'm just taking a guess.
So an elevator pitch is basically an introduction of yourself that you would give pretty much in the time that it takes you to ride from one floor in an elevator to the next floor, so about 30 seconds to about 1 minute.
Explain who you are, what you do, and what you want to do.
Hi, I'm Chantal Wright. I'm the Associate Director for Career Development. I've been in career development for the past 6 years, and I really enjoy it. I enjoy working with students, and my hope is to continue down this path. That was terrible.
Well, usually the elevator pitch would include a short summary of your educational background. It would also include what your career goals are.
Okay, my name is Kristen Richards. I'm currently a master's student at New York University studying higher education administration and student affairs.
I am an associate director and PA career advisor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice. My main focus is that I work with Masters of Public Administration students.
My career goal is basically to work within the government, whether it's in the city government or state or even federal. Hopefully I can become the HR director of a public agency within the next 5 years after graduating.
So I'm hoping to find mentors in the field who could best support that. Are you interested in being a mentor to an emerging professional?
In my mind, I would think of, I would get a job today.
So I try to take a few minutes beforehand and try to get in the right frame of mind. Take a few minutes to myself, breathe deeply.
Well, I've learned the best thing is to just be yourself, because that's what it's about. Sometimes we get caught up. I've got caught up in the notion of, well, I'm interacting with a professional, I need to pretend to be this put together, well-informed person, and it's just good to relax and be yourself and realize that it's two humans connecting, and that's the focus.
Networking, the most important thing that a student needs to know about networking, it's a skill that they can very easily get. Not to be intimidated by it, but it's a skill that will secure them the job if they do it properly.
Hi, my name is Nadia. I'm a science major and this is my 3rd year.
Okay, your elevator pitch. 1, 2, 3.